TGIF Warriors, another inflation number to deal with this morning. How's everyone doing? How you doing, Blake? AJ? Ingmar?
Morning, Coach.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, so that's it for saying hello. So thought I'd start off with silver. We've had this rally. I know Greg was looking for new highs in gold. So, I was looking at that and maybe he's right because of this was a confirmed high at the highs. So, markets rarely peak when you're getting confirmed highs. So let me just show you the daily. There you go. So you see this RSI reading here. We'll see. We're getting through that 40 level too. Probably a lot of people, want to get ready in case there's any retaliation over the weekend. And Euro made an additional low after the number yesterday and still trading underneath this. I have a hard time wanting to push the short side of Euro. Cable seems to have held up better. The best day was put in by Aussie yesterday. So, 67 is going to be pretty important. This is your relative strength leader right here. If you want to fade the dollar. And here we are, looks like we had a little bit of a throw over here off this line. And the level to watch is, 102.80. We start trading back inside this morning on a benign number or not as hot. I think that is what initiates the correction back down to 101.50, which I'm going to consider as a buying opportunity. Good cover yesterday by Blake in U.S. dollar yen. On the week, it's higher, so there still could be some more left here to the upside. I like this 51 level for next week to try it. What's interesting, and it's not following through, but I'm still always amazed, and I bet my teammates feel the same thing. When you've had a line drawn for, I don't know, months and months, and then it comes back to it and respects it. So, that's a breakout line I had. We're coming in lower on the bonds today, about 40. So we'll see if it holds. But big picture wise, I still think that as long as we hold 92, that there's more upside left in the treasury market. It's really a contrarian take right now. Even guys who like bonds don't like the longer duration. I'm talking about guys like Gunlich. He's saying that because we're steepening again, right? So if we're steepening, the long end is weaker than the front end of the market. So, really the star has been Canada. It just keeps rolling, and I wouldn't chase it up here though. So Blake made a good point. We'd be lucky to see a pullback to 650. That'll happen if we get this dollar pullback towards 102, 101.50. And most likely it's a buy because if this is, just the first wave, it's pretty huge, right? 500 pips, right? So you get 500 pips from say 31 and a half, and it takes you back to new highs. And coincidentally, it would be like a 3 if you went 1, 2, 3. So I remember when Blake was talking about 140 in Canada, when it was acting lousy. He never really turned aggressively bearish, except for, especially once we cleaned out the lopsided commitment of traders report. So, that's called trader intuition because, there may not have been anything hugely technical, but, that's what experience does. Okay. You can't learn it, but you can learn it from others, from experienced people. You can't learn experience because it only happens with the passing of time. And it's what you do with the time. Okay. If you're isolating yourself and not growing and communicating with other traders, I think your learning curve is going to take you much longer. And before we had this internet, if you weren't on the floor, um, you really didn't have the ability to collaborate like that with people. You'd have meetings face to face. So, there's a lot of disadvantages to, the technical world we live in, but there are also, some great opportunities that weren't there. And that's to be able to be anywhere with someone across the globe and exchange ideas. So at least get the trial, check it out. And let's start off with Ryan before the number, buddy. Euro, it turned, and then it retested the low again. Pretty interesting action. So, we had this move off the CPI.
Yeah.
Then it made a new low, kind of diverged. I can't be short euro here. Uh, what do you think?
Depends on your trading time frame. You can be short below 109.50.60 because
Okay.
that's a level. But if you're above 109.50.60 and you want to be short, you probably got to wait for another test of 110.
10.
But I want to go
Yeah.
back to your point you made about your level on that prior asset. What was it? The 93 area. When
Oh,
you said,
yeah, that
well,
was TLT.
yeah, when you're waiting, when you've had a level on your chart for ages, um, those are the levels you've got to trade. Okay, those are the levels you've almost got to trade them, and you can almost trade them with your eyes shut. Okay, because they are so significant. Um, you may remember, if you go back to euro dollar, when we were trading down at 108s, 109s, and everyone was talking about 110s, 111s. What did I say my number was? 112.
Yeah.
And look what happened on the first test.
Right.
112 to 110.
Yeah.
And it did it, and then it's done it again. So
Yeah.
that's the importance of sizing up your levels. You can look at a level here at 109, 50, 60. Yeah, it's a bit of a level, but is it as strong as the 112? No. So you scale it and you trade them accordingly. 115 in euro dollar. I will trade that with my eyes shut unless, the ECB are hiking rates to 10% or something
Yeah.
like that. I will trade that level with my eyes shut because it's such a huge level. 112 was a similar one. So your point is so important and so valid for trading. You can't miss those opportunities,
A good
and you don't
coach
need to
can
you don't need
go
to
ahead,
risk a
Ryan.
lot on them. You don't need to risk a lot on them. You don't need to risk 100, 200 pips on it. You don't need to bet the farm on it. But if you hit those levels, those are the ones that give you the big moves if they work. But anyway,
Yeah.
lesson over.
Okay. No, I mean that's I like the confirmations that I get on that, and like I said, a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. So while I have Ryan here, just think about how much you could learn from Ryan and Blake in a coaching session, or K-Man or Grega. That's a good investment. A good investment if you pick up one thing that changes. It's almost like, trading's a lot like sports. It's a game of inches. It's a game of you're early a few hours and it makes a difference. If you're not patient and wait for levels like Ryan talks about, or maybe you even need help learning how to identify levels. Maybe you look at a chart and it's not as obvious to you because you haven't spent the time doing it. Okay. Um, you know, Screen time. You need thousands of hours of screen time to become experienced. It's not going to happen reading a book over the weekend. Okay. That's what Schwager says. Some people think they could read a book on trading and they're ready to go because it's a coin flip. You buy it or you sell it, it's 50%. But, I think the odds are worse than 50%.
Yeah,
And anyway, so here we are, yen bouncing a little bit. I don't think it got down to your levels. I think you were looking maybe 47. It didn't quite do that.
yeah.
What do you think? Or, I mean, I'm going to wait for my level. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's up there next week. Interday, you have a 1, you have a 2. We're not that far away. 100, 150 pips away from those levels. So now even the short term is starting to set up as momentum is starting to dry up. What are you doing with yen here?
Here, not a lot. It was pretty significant that we've had two highs round about that 149.50 area. You can see the first
Yeah,
high, and then we had that high yesterday, that spike high. So that sort of cemented the short term top side anyway. Downside, nothing happens unless we're below 148. So we're 148, 149 and a half. Yeah, every scope to go to 150, which is a big level on its own. Every scope to go to 151, which is the 50 fib of the move off of, or close to 151, the 50 fib of the move off the 162s. So, yeah, we're in range. I think you've got to keep an eye on yields. They made fresh highs yesterday over all that CPI and market wetting its pants over the claims data.
yeah.
I think you've got to keep an eye on that today. If we get up to but don't break those highs, then you're probably going to see the breaks going on further dollar rallies from this point.
Okay, yeah. And the key area, which I didn't think we would get to, but it's major because we identified it on the way down. It's the 420 level. Let me just,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, look at this. All right, so 420 was real important. I thought we were only going to rally back to about 4, a little bit above 4. But if we start closing above 420, I have to change my mind about yields, and that they could challenge, into year end these levels again. So 420 is really the big macro line in the sand, in my opinion, or what I'm seeing in the charts. How about you, Ron? This
yeah,
420?
exactly mine too. Because when we were in that 420s, what happened?
Yeah,
This was when the market started playing the 50 cut game, and will they, won't
right.
they?
Yeah, we had
And
we had
then
that Saul thing, or
yeah,
yeah.
and so
Okay,
everyone started buying bonds, locking in that yield, and
right.
then they got the 50. We got bonds knocked down to 360, and now the Fed are saying, right, no more 50s. We're going 25s, and now we're playing whether it's going to be 25 or unchanged.
Yeah,
So you're seeing but if you get, this is where I find the disparity between yields and interest rates, and it's not linear, obviously. But if we back up to that 420, 425 area after a 50 pip rate cut, and with further rate cuts to come, another 50 by the end of the year, more into next year, how is that sustainable for yields up at 425?
it is not.
So
Yeah,
something's got to happen, hasn't it? In my mind, either bond traders come in and go, nah, that's too cheap. We got to be buying it there. And I thought that might happen at 4%. Yeah, here we are at 410. So the higher we go, the less likely that it's going to continue, because it's going to push yields above where interest rates are likely to be over the foreseeable future, whether it's 2 years or longer. So I think it's a limited trade if the Fed continue to cut, seeing yields up that high.
yeah. Well, I mean, Mark Chandler's a sharp guy, and I didn't ask him the right question, but he said he sold his apartment in New York when he was on Tuesday, and that he's buying log bonds with the proceeds. Okay, so first of all, I could understand why he's buying log bonds, after, he's buying a pullback here. I
Yeah.
should have asked him, Mark, why are you selling your apartment in New York? I thought about that, delayed reaction question. They happened the days after now instead of during.
Ask him on Twitter.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, where are you living
Follow
now,
up.
bro? Huh?
Yeah.
Which
Anyway,
is a little bit of a bummer because when I used to go out to New York when I was trading for Gellos, he's like, come to my house, you guys can stay over at my house in the city. And I was like,
that would have been cool.
I never took advantage of it. Yeah, I mean, obviously I was there for work reasons, and even though I'd be there for 2 weeks, we never even got a chance. One time we were going to meet up for we were going to try to meet up, but I think he was out of town. The only time I was in town.
Anyway, in 90 days in December, remind me to ask Mark why he sold his apartment.
Yeah, there you go.
He's literally bet the house on it, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's true. On the bond market, he's betting his house on the bond market, and I wouldn't fade Mark longer term. So Blake, I want to bring you in, buddy. 15 minutes where we could wrap up this week, and I'm just curious if you're positioned into it, or what are you looking to do in reaction to it?
Yeah, I am actually. Well, I'm not gonna tell everybody here exactly what all my positions are. If you really want to know what they are, you can always be in the
Can you
Forex
please
Analytics.
tell us your net worth outside of your house?
Yeah, and like, what color underwear I'm wearing? Yes, I'd be more than happy to. Pink polka dots.
Yeah.
I want to. I am. If you watch the week ahead video, everybody should be very well aware, because I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. I've been waiting for the dollar yen to, I didn't think the move in yields was going to be as strong. And Ryan, I know you just talked about it, and I think it's been staggeringly strong. I can see this, very, very minor channel moving higher. But I've been waiting for, the dollar yen to move from 142 to 149 to 150. We're basically there, and we've come into the sell zone that I have been looking at. Matter of fact, if you go over to the charts that I use on the week ahead, which is a different subset of charts, this is exactly the drawing that I used on the week ahead video. So you can see exactly what I drew last week and what I'm looking for. So we're here. So you asked me the question, Dale, am I positioned into this level? I am. But I also feel that the dollar yen could have some further upside, especially it's not so much producer prices. I mean, yeah, PPI could come in stronger. CPI did yesterday, sure. And we'll go back and look at some of the PPI historically, what we've seen. But more importantly, I think it's something that, Ryan, you talked about it on the Flow Show today, and it's something that everybody needs to be very well aware of. There's an event happening this weekend, isn't there, across the on the other side of the world, from where I live anyway.
All sides of the world.
Yeah. So, well, not only do we have obviously, the Middle East conflict issues, but what's happening in China?
Yeah, we've got this Ministry of Finance meeting tomorrow during their time, where again it's expected they're going to be dumping a load of fiscal measures and growth boosting measures on the Chinese economy. That's their main focus. You got to remember, it's not pleasing everyone else abroad and feeding international markets. It's for their own economy. And then on Monday, there's a bit of a follow up. A lot of the Ministry for Information Technology, Ministry of Silly Walks, all that sort of palaver is a bit of a follow up to this one. So there's potential gap risk for risk trades. If they drop some big bombs again, supportive measures, you're going to see probably stocks rising, commodities rising, commodity FX rising. If they don't, if the market's disappointed, then you're going to see the opposite. So,
and I have to say, there's been a lot written in like, the financial news, whether you're looking at you're reading like the F.T. or maybe Bloomberg. A lot has been written about the market's discontent with China's lack of fiscal stimulus thus far. So you can see, I mean, if they pay attention to any type of public sentiment on what the market's looking for, and they're trying to support their markets, because it is really just more of it is a psychological thing. I mean, when you see this type of move and you're an investor in China and you see this happen, right? You see that happen. I mean, you're like, okay, give me a reason why I should be buying right now. versus, let's just, blindly just hope that everything works. So if China doesn't deliver this weekend, you're right, we could be gapping a lot lower, come Sunday morning. And remember, go ahead.
Yeah, this is where the market is wrong, because it's looking at China like, yeah, if they do big stimulus, yeah, we can go and buy Western risk assets, okay, like copper and Aussie dollar rallies and all stuff like that, which is wrong, because how can you get disappointed when they've spent the last 2 years with countless fiscal stimulus measures? The whole world property market was expected to go boom with the Evergrande thing, wasn't it? When Evergrande tipped over 2 years ago.
Right.
It didn't. And as I said right from the start, China won't let it go pop, because they just won't. And they've got enough money not to let it go pop. But they've been trying to fix that for 2 years, and they're half succeeding. They're propping up their auto sectors, they're propping up their consumer sectors, their white goods sectors. They have done so much stimulus, but because it hasn't been big rate cuts and everything, the market's going, oh, you haven't done anything, you need to do more. Well, now they've done the big rate cuts. What more does the market want out of them? The market's saying, well, you haven't done enough. They've done 10 times what the Fed's done in terms of support.
You're right. I don't disagree with you, Ryan, but the market would, begs to differ. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have an opinion, I have an opinion, and ultimately it doesn't really matter. It's like, what is the market? How's the market viewing it?
Oh, I wouldn't say fight the market on what it wants to do over this thing. I'm just saying, know what is actually happening underneath the irrationality, shall we say.
Sure. And we've talked a lot about it over the course of the last couple of years. Every time China would do, whatever they would do to try to support their market, everybody's like, well, yeah, that's great, but the shotgun effect versus a bazooka is not going to work, and that's been the common theme for the last couple of years. Anyway, we could probably go into a really long conversation.
Could there be any announcement on the BRIC currency? Like it's back, they're going to back it with gold. Could there be anything currency related coming out of this meeting, Brian?
I don't think so. That there's been no murmurings about it. At least that's I haven't read anything. Ryan, do you have any comments there?
Yeah, if anything, I doubt it would be on the BRIC side of things. It might be, because they have been trying to get the yuan as a more usable currency. But I think for this event, I think it's all about domestics. So they might talk about, well, whether they'll let the yuan strengthen or weaken generally, but I think, yeah, it's all just going to be domestic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they could do, and I mean, this is one of China's levers, is let the CNH weaken a little bit, and boy, you'd probably see an explosion. And
Forex Trader expresses a lot of sentiment that we have around the world. Yes, dollar is dead, LOL. So that's funny. BRICS will destroy it, LOL. That's a sentiment around the world. A lot of people want to see the king fall, and we've been the king for a long time. So there's resentment about it.
There is, but I don't. I'm in the camp that we're in a dollar denominated world. It is too interwoven into how we transact around the globe. It's gonna be it's a slow process of moving away from dollars versus some big shock and awe, unless there is when Trump comes into office. I was just actually reading an article on Bloomberg about this, but if he comes into office and he really wants to weaken the dollar, it has to be more of a Plaza Accord type of deal. Like it has to be a collaboration amongst, probably G10 countries on, actually weakening the dollar. That's not today, and it's not going to affect us today. So let's not talk about it. Let's talk about
DJT
is going to move the market today. What?
DJT has been rallying the last week or so, which I don't know if it's a predictor or they just have a lot of people short that particular issue. That's True Social, right? DJT.
Yeah. I mean, it's True Social, right? Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
Anyway, hey, let's talk about the dollar CAD, because this is one that like I said, I believe it's going to 140. It's moved a lot. I thought we would be at 136.50 going into the Canadian jobs, but man, this Canadian has just been getting worked all week. We are at 161% extension of the last move lower. Now we had a false breakdown, as I've, talked about endlessly over the last week, and on the week ahead video, false breakout is going to lead us to a breakout. False breakdown, excuse me, is going to lead us to a breakout. We've done that. We're almost at the 161% extension. Although I do have Canadian short on my book right now. And I'm not long dollar CAD, but I am short Canadian dollars at the moment. Again, if you're in the ForexAnalytix community, you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm obviously very impressed with this Canadian weakness. Think about what happens on a weak Canadian jobs number. Where are we going to go here? Ryan, what are your thoughts as we head into this Canadian jobs number? And look at this freaking move. This is not all dollars. This is a lot Canadian move. So you can actually see it here. So any thoughts?
Powerful.
Yeah, I mean, above 136.50, I said it was the gateway to potentially hitting the top of the range that we've seen for quite some time. The 138.60s, 139s, those sort of areas. So yeah, we could do a drive up here. I don't understand half of this move, because the CAD has done nothing through the Fed and everything else, all these oil market moves and everything. So I don't know what's going on. I'll be happy to maybe give it a go up the top if we saw some of those high levels that we've seen previously, because I don't see any reason why it should moonshoot to 140 in a straight line.
So, okay, so you said something which is interesting. I wouldn't mind, and I don't, again, this is one of those things. I look at the dollar and I'm, as a whole, and the dollar index, I think, was a great purchase, this last week, because everybody was bearish. We obviously, we came out of this wedge. It's been extremely bullish. I thought we'd be at the underside of this trend line on Friday, but here we are, a couple of days past it. We're at the 50% retracement now, and 161% extension. And we got a reversal candle yesterday in the dollar index and a lot of different currencies. I'd actually sell a dollar Canadian rally today if we have as long as the number is not super weak, but if it's relatively weak, I would sell it somewhere like you, Ryan, above 138. I might actually short some today, just as more of a day trade type of thing. But if you look at the rest of the dollar pairs, like here's the Aussie. That was a big bounce off the 38% retracement, 38% retracement. Kiwi, 50% retracement, big reversal here. Now we've had a rejection where we should thus far, but the euro, this move last night, and if you guys missed it yesterday, this is on Bostic's comments. He's already a hawk, and we got some hawkish comments that took the euro down to 109 and kind of bounced back. But we saw some pretty big reversals yesterday. So if we get a strong, or excuse me, a weak Canadian number and a strong producer prices, I'd actually look to sell, or excuse me, a weak producer prices, but a weak Canadian number. I would actually look to sell the dollar CAD on a rally if we got a nice spike. But any thoughts before we go into the Canadian jobs? I'm going to actually keep the dollar Canadian up, and even though we're going through PPI, any thoughts here, Ryan?
No, I agree with you, mate. I may, if we get up maybe 138, 50, 60s, I'll think about giving that a little knock, like you say, for a bit of an intraday trade.
All right, and Dale, we have just less than 2 minutes. Any thoughts as we go into this producer prices after yesterday's PPI?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that this wave is peaking in the dollar index, and I'm looking for 101.5, 102 in the next 5 to 10 trading days to get long the dollar. That should open the door for you to get long USD CAD at 6.5.
We'll see what happens with this CAD. It is, man, it is so weak. I'm happy that it's weak, but man, has it been weak.
Well, I'll call Adam Butt and see if he could do anything about it.
Well, Adam's been a Canadian bear all through this, pretty much all year long. I remember
I'll get him to cover.
I've been a Canadian bear, but we talked about positioning and how skewed it was, you know,
Yeah.
on the drop through 136. We knew it was going to stop everybody out, and it sure did. But now it looks like, you know, this Canadian's like really, really weak. Oh, here we go.
Patience.
PPI hotter, Canadian jobs hotter.
Wow, look at that
See?
dollar CAD.
You
Holy
know,
cow.
from my lips.
And look at that. Look at
Yes.
that. So, woo,
So
man.
just be patient. You're going to get your level. You know, it's all about patience. And if it didn't come back to 6.5 and it kept going without you, oh well.
Yeah,
Next.
and look at
Next.
yields are coming off right now.
Yeah. So you know what I was looking for yesterday is happening in a bigger way today. So what's gold doing? Is it up 20 now?
It is
Up two.
it's
Up
yeah,
$2.
it's not moving a lot. I mean, it's hard to get really, really
Yeah.
bullish after this big of a move in gold, but yeah, it still looks pretty stout. I mean, you know.
Okay. Right.
But we're not seeing, I mean, we're seeing a big move in the Canadian. Wow, look at that big move in the CAD. Matter of fact, let me look at that data again.
You're
I know you
80
have
pips away.
you have
Kim
Mama
is
Investor
here.
here. Is she
Yeah,
here?
she's here.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna jump in the chat room with you guys. So I'll see you guys in the ForexAnalytix chat room. For the rest of you, have a that are gonna listen in to Mama Investor. Have a great weekend. I'm actually gonna film the week ahead video. I like filming them on Friday now, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that here later today. So
Okay, so you're going to the studio to do it in Hollywood or
yeah,
what?
in Hollywood.
All right.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Blake and Ryan, great to be back in the saddle with you guys. So had a fun week. Thank you.
Same here, buddy.
Cheers,
All
mate.
right.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Have a great weekend. And Kim, really great to have you back here on F.A.C.E with everything that's going on, and appreciate you coming here to share what you're doing in the markets. How are you?
You guys are such a nice group of people. I like listening in.
Yeah, you know,
I learn a
it's not.
lot too.
Yeah, well, you know, I've learned a lot. It's 8 years we've been together, so you know, it's more like a family. You know what it's like. You have
Yeah,
those relationships with traders for a long time, and yeah, and they're talented, and you know, the most important thing, even more than having good eyes and being able to see things, is
good
caring.
hearts.
Yeah, caring about people,
Yep.
being
That-
kind.
yeah, and they're really good teachers too. I don't know much about currencies. You know, it's never been
Yeah,
something that I've really looked at. So I like hearing it. I was
yeah,
listening in yesterday as well.
yeah. I heard an expression about teachers that teachers don't care about the income; they care about the outcome. So,
To a
yeah,
degree, we still need to live.
yeah. Well, you know, they come out of there, live under the bridge, and go and serve people. Anyway, tell
You
us
know,
some
in my
things.
second, I mean, in my outside of the market job, right? I'm a professor and
Right.
a counselor. So,
Yeah. So you're a Renaissance woman, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
where you have a lot of different things going on. Um, so here we are, Kim, I don't know, about 3 weeks or so away from what's going to be a contested election and the
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So are you pruning back risk in front of it, or what are you doing? Because I know you're still active. And I just wanted to tell our listeners that Kim does a lot of stuff on X, you know, spaces. And that too could be a good place to learn. I know you guys are more stock centric, individual stock centric. So if you know you want to learn about what sectors and what Kim and there's hundreds in there with you at times, Kim.
Oh, yeah.
That's your
We
that's
do.
your that's your community.
Yeah, we do. Like trading in the morning, 6 when the market opens. I say 6 because of the West Coast here. So 9 o'clock Eastern time. And then we do a lot of different spaces. We have a Tesla space that we do because I just bought a Tesla. So
Oh, okay. How do you like
we
it?
do a lot of different.
Is it?
I
Is
have
it?
to tell you, it's the it's the best car I've ever bought. Ever.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
I
Because
love it.
you've had a
I had to
few.
be talked in. I had to be talked into it. And my
By
really
your
good trader
husband?
friend talked to me. No, he didn't.
Okay.
My really good trader friend, female friend, she was like,
Okay.
"You need to get this car. You'll love it." So, yeah.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Husbands can't talk their wives into anything. It's the other way around.
No,
Anyway, so talk to me about markets, Kim. The Mag 7, it's still kind of bifurcated, but do you think this melt up is gonna continue for a while? I have some numbers up around 5850, but I'm thinking ultimately 6K
yeah,
S&Ps
that's what
is
I think too.
okay.
Yeah, I
And
really
it
think I'm surprised, I have to say, but I'm really proud of myself. I did not get short into this rally, even though I'm like, I know we have the Fed put and all that, but if you look at the VIX, I look at the VIX futures a lot. It's still pretty
okay.
elevated from where it's
Yeah,
been. The
it's
VXM,
okay. VXM, let me pull up.
VXM is the VIX futures,
Yeah,
and it was down 12, 13, and it's been over 20 pretty much in this last couple of weeks. And I don't know if that's hedging for the election or what it is, but to me, one of the indicators is that something's brewing around the corner. So I've been a little
well,
surprised about this melt up. I think most people, that are institutional traders haven't been, but I've been somewhat surprised. But I didn't get short into it. So I do have
yeah,
a lot of cash on the side. Um, so
okay.
I'm
So,
playing, I've been doing a lot of more short term. Like I caught some of the China trade up. Being a trade, I caught some of the China trade up. So that was fun. Um, got
yeah,
out of
that
it last week.
when Carolina lost, because you knew Tepper was going to have to sell some China stocks to find a new quarterback and basically a whole new team.
When I
Anyway,
started like hearing so many people be like all hand, this is actually where I got out of it when I was on a spaces and someone who's a pretty good investor trader said the S&P would be weaker than China over time, and I'm like, no, this is time to get out.
okay. I just want something I noticed here. Do you think this was just a bear market rally, Kim? Because it had all the hallmarks of a bear market rally. They come out of nowhere. They're sharp. They're fast, and they end up not being long lasting.
Well, I mean, the night that the market went down 1,000 points,
Yeah,
um, um, Mark, my husband was a floor trader,
yeah,
and he said to me, "This is just pajama traders. Get long here." And of course, when the market's going down like that, and you're not used to being a floor trader, you
yeah,
don't feel like you can get long. And he kept going, "This is pajama traders. They're just pushing it down. Get long, get long." Well,
yeah,
he was right because
yeah,
basically that was the lowest it went. I think you and I had talked about this before.
yeah.
And then they froze the market, where
Look
no
at
one could
look at where
trade.
it stopped. So if you don't, I don't. You're a technician, Kim. You look at charts.
Yeah, I
So
look definitely.
all right. So a lot of people um, just get myopic about like 4 hours, and to them that's long term because they're
Hmm.
looking at 2 hour and 15 minute if they're day trading. But the telescope can give you a message. So is it coincidence that Alibaba, which is best of breed in China, stalled out right at the weekly 200? Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't see your screen at all. I can only
You
see
can?
your name. No,
Okay, I wonder if I'm
I
sharing
cannot.
that. Let me see what's
No,
going
I
on
don't
here.
think you are.
Okay.
But I'm
Here.
following you in a visual in my mind.
All right. Well, here it is. I thought I was sharing it, but check that out.
Oh
So
yeah, wow.
yeah, but you know, if you don't break out your telescope once in a while, you're not going to see
Hmm.
these things. You know, you're going to see, wow, you know, I hope I get a break to buy, right?
Right.
And it could still be the right thing, but you know, some long-term stuff, we'll see. I mean, it's a big weekend. What do you think's going to come out of China? What's the talk? They have a big meeting tomorrow. Did you
Yeah,
know
I mean,
about that?
honestly, no, I did not. What is
Okay.
it? Is it about the easing
About
or
Yeah, about you know, like a Draghi thing, doing whatever it takes type of
fakes? Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
They're going to be announcing, you know, different
Is this the bazooka?
measures. It may be a hypersonic missile.
Yeah,
One of the guys I work with, Ryan, said, you know, they say don't fight the Fed. It's even a bigger monster to fight the PBOC.
yeah. No, I mean the only thing for me is I think when we've been around long enough, I've held different stocks in that index, and trying to be careful here, but I had an EDU and some of their tech stocks, and
Okay.
they decide one day that they're not going to support the EDU anymore. EDU is the education stocks,
Okay.
and I got a 75% haircut overnight, and all
Yeah.
those went down that fast. So I'm always more cautious because when it's a centralized government, they make the choice, right?
Yeah.
It's not the
Well,
people owning the businesses.
Well, you know, you bought near the lows or even prior to the lows in TLT months
Yeah,
ago. Okay, you had a great trade there, right?
yes, I think I bought it at 82 or 83. It had gone down that low, right?
No, no, at 86 was the low.
Okay.
All right.
That's
Anyway,
about where I bought it.
okay, yeah, you were buying. I remember you were here, and you said I'm buying TLT. I just have to own it. You know, I considered this a breakout area here. And look at
Uh-huh.
how it actually tagged it. I mean, this line was drawn 5, 6 months ago. I'm
And
always
that's where you said it
amazed.
was going.
I'm always amazed, even though I've seen it more than once, how a technical area that you had, the market's memory to the left, how it can respect things and actually react to them. You have a view on TLT? I know that yields have become a little bit more difficult since the 50 basis point cut. Um, do you have a view on TLT and a bias of what you might be doing in here?
Yeah, I don't own it right now. That definitely was a trade for me, and very happy with that trade. But it's like the market ahead of time, anticipated the Fed cutting. And once they cut, the yield
Yeah,
started flying higher. The 10-year
yeah.
right now is over 4.1 again. So to me, it's just all disconnected and doesn't make a lot of sense. What do you
Okay.
think?
I uh, I agree. You know, to me, this 420 level was really where the market turned bad. I thought we were only from here we're going to rally to about 4%, but uh, it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, and
So
it
yeah, I don't know
and now
what
the
to do with it.
Fed, might not cut again in November. So, and I think the market wasn't anticipating a 50 bips cut. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't trade yields, but I definitely watch them.
Okay. I know you trade silver once in a while.
I have it long on again.
Okay.
That is the addiction trade for me is
Is
silver.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I love trading silver futures, but
All right.
I'm in a competition
Yeah.
portfolio right now, and we have to have 25% of our dollars to be in one indice for a month, and I chose silver
Good
or
choice.
one stock. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
I really think silver's going higher.
what's the stock that silver's a stock, or did you buy a silver miner?
So you have to have two. I bought SLV, and then
Okay.
we have to have two that are 25%. And my second one is Microsoft. I really expected Microsoft to head up towards 500, and it's really sideways traded, I don't know, in the last 3 or 4 months. And so it is one of my favorite stocks. I love that CEO. I love what they're doing with the AI, with Microsoft. Teams, 360, I use all those products. So that is my other trade in that competition account. So we do this competition every quarter.
Okay. All right.
And we just do
So
$2,500. So it's kind of fun because you have to really think about where you're putting your dollars at.
right. Well, maybe we could have a new when's the competition end?
The end of quarter
Of the year?
Q4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I can say this, that Microsoft peaked with a confirmed high, which gives leaves open the door for new highs, because they usually don't highs usually aren't confirmed. Usually there's divergence before you have a good top, and we didn't diverge there. So maybe there's another run to the upside, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a melt up. Do you think we could have a melt up before the election to get to that 6,000 level, into it or right after it?
I mean, I think we go up to about, like you said, 50. Where are we now on the SPX? 50. I don't have it up.
Yeah, I got it.
I think we go up to about 58, 50, 59.
Wow.
And then,
That's
but the election, huh?
that's a number of a guy I interviewed a few weeks ago. He's called the Pivot King, and that's his scenario. And he thinks things are, going to blow up in the Middle East, and we're going to have an oil shock. I'm not sure about that. I think there is going to be serious retaliation. I mean, it's been escalating. Everyone kept saying, we don't want war. We don't want it to turn into a war. And someone did,
Yeah.
because here we are. So,
Yeah.
but his number was 58.50 a few weeks ago, where, we made
Ah,
prediction. Yeah. And I think there's a trade from there. I don't think it'll be the final high, but I think there's a swing
a
trade.
down trade.
Yeah, at least
You
a
mean
swing
down?
trade. Yeah, because look at S&Ps. Really, this is a telescopic view, and I don't think even if we go to 6,000, it'll negate this divergence. So we're working on the third drive to a top. I'm not saying we're there yet, but the form is there. Okay, and look at the RSI. On the weekly, we peaked in March of 24. Okay. And then this the drive number 2 was almost as much, but look at where we are now. And I've talked to guys that follow breadth, and this high that we've just made here in October, the breadth is much weaker than it was on
more
drive
narrow.
2. Yeah. So what do you think could be the trigger? Maybe yields just keep going higher. Could that be it? Fed disappoints. A
Yeah,
catalyst for a pullback.
to me, it's going to be the election. I mean, I think the market's very, the
Complacent.
market's very complacent right now. Neither candidate, in my opinion, is really like stating what policies they're doing, the specifics, So
Right.
I think the market doesn't really, I think if we have divided government, that will be really positive. So no matter who gets in, if it's, I have my preference, but I'm not going to state it here. So, but just in general, whoever gets in, if there's divided government, I think that's what the market wants, right? That's when the market does the best. If there's not divided government, we could see the market, depending on which side, I think divided government helps that. But I just think there's so much rhetoric and so much out there that maybe this will be a nothing burger, and that's what I hope for. That
Yeah.
everything goes smooth.
Oh
But
boy.
I just don't know. And so I think that the market could have volatility. Do I think we're having a crash? I mean, no.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But I think you could
neither
crash
side will.
overnight like we did.
Yeah, you mean when President Trump got elected and we were limit down, and then one of those guys went home and bought a bunch of futures, and we were unchanged by the opening. Do you remember that night in
Oh yeah,
16?
because I was short NQ, big NQs
Okay,
into that.
okay, yeah,
And
and
I
it looked
no,
like they
that
were
was not a
locked
good
limit
trade.
down.
That wasn't a good trade for me.
Yeah, because you thought you went to bed at night in the U.S. with the market limit down, and woke up the following morning, and it was pretty much unchanged.
Yeah,
So
it flew back up. I specifically remember it. I remember it being like 700 or 800 points down.
yeah,
And we were a
so
lot lower, so that was a big deal, like you said. And then it flew, and I was like, "What the heck's going on?" And
yeah.
any
That,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Even the last election, actually, I had really fun trading the last election, just trading really small because
Yeah,
it kept making really big outsized moves both ways initially. And I just kept like, when it would go up, I'd sell it. When it would go down, I'd buy it. Just like back and forth, back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of volatility. So if you like trading that, it's,
yeah.
it'd be kind of fun.
Okay, so someone proposed to me that the market bottomed in 2016 on the election night. We were limit down, okay, and we were up and away from there.
Yep.
So Trump victory and a blow off into new highs could be the completion from what happened in 2016, just the inverse happening. Because it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
More people feared him then. I'm not still saying there's a lot of fear, but most financial guys are pulling for him because of tax policy and who wants to have capital gains on open positions that you're going to have
Mm-hmm.
to, some of those
That's
things.
never, but you and I know that's never happening.
I hope
Well, I
so.
shouldn't never say never. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to
I
have a
mean,
war? Do you think we're going to have a war before the election? I think Israel's going in before the election. Not
I
this
just don't,
weekend. It's
I
Yom
don't,
Kippur.
I just don't, I mean, I don't know who's pulling the strings. That's the issue, How
Yeah.
much does our administration have
We
some thumb down on it?
well,
I mean,
they're not pulling the strings. They're puppets too. I don't know who's pulling the strings either, Kim. But it's rarely the president anymore.
yeah. Well,
So
I'm thinking, yeah, he's got his thumb. They have this administration has their thumbs down on it because that would not be good
yeah,
for
unless they
the
join,
Democrats.
unless they joined Israel, and it was
Yeah.
successful and took out the regime of Iran, that could actually help Harris.
Yeah, you think that can all happen before
Because
election
yeah,
day?
because if
Really?
yeah, because one of the knocks on her is no foreign policy experience, and
Yeah.
that Putin and Xi are doing cartwheels hoping she wins.
Mm-hmm.
So if she's involved in some type of military action before the election and it works out, there goes that argument. Just something someone proposed. Just thinking
That's why
about.
I'm long. That's why I'm long silver.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell your stop should be under 30 because if we take out 30, we're going to 27. So there's just a big
Yeah,
picture.
I agree. There can be a little danger trade there
Yeah.
because silver.
So
The thing about silver is it moves
yeah.
fast. When it goes
Okay.
one way or the other, it like you said, it could fall through the floor
Yeah.
or it shoots right up.
Yeah.
And I just trade this micro silvers.
Okay.
I'm not
And
doing the SI.
do you follow the gold silver ratio as a silver trader?
A little bit. And is silver, where is it at right now?
Here's the gold silver ratio right in front of you. So
Got it.
I actually think it's going to, when it's heading higher, gold is outperforming silver. When it's
Mhm.
headed lower, you get less
Silver's
silver
outperforming.
underperforming. And yeah, silver's underperforming. No, when it's moving up, silver, yeah, gold is outperforming. When it's moving down, silver's outperforming. So
Hmm.
if this is a bullish formation, we're going above 90. It's not necessarily directional, but the best environment for silver is when the ratio is declining, not rising.
Hmm.
So we'll see. That's what makes a market. Um, but I do think 30 has to hold.
Where do
Um,
you think oil's going to?
you know, uh, every time I talk about the Straits of Hormuz, I get poo-pooed by everybody that won't happen. That's why we have ships there. But here's what I think. See this big triangle? We took out all the bulls, right? They're gone. This was a nice little pullback. I think we're going to clean out the bears next. Um,
Yeah.
and we could, we could possibly go to 100. No one thinks that because of the weak global economy. That's the bears narrative. And the
Well, and
bulls
we're also
narrative,
producing a lot more
yeah,
oil. The
that's true.
United States.
Yeah, so I mean, all the, every narrative is bearish oil. Weak economy, we produce more, no reason, except, this is pretty historical, what's going to happen here. So there probably aren't many times in history where you could go against what the fundamentals are just in case it does happen. So,
Hmm.
if the straits are more difficult to get through, I know they're saying that other OPEC countries can make up for the difference. They're gonna make shorts capitulate. I think over this line to 86, but I can't go home short. If don't I went short crude in this environment. It may work, but it could be a one mistake big trade if one day it just opens $10 higher. Okay, so you know everyone thinks whistling past the graveyard with Ukraine, with the Middle East. Um, there could be something exogenous that upsets our market, something bigger than the Fed that upsets the market. And I think an oil shock is exactly something that could do that.
Wouldn't be
You have a
good
view on
for.
you have a view on crude? You own any energy stocks? They've been acting okay.
Well, I was one of the bulls they shook out. So back in that competition portfolio
Oh,
I was telling you about,
right. Yeah, here.
I got long. Yeah, I got long. What was I long? Oh,
Oxy.
XLE,
Okay. All right.
XLE,
All right. The ETF.
and I got long the ETF, and uh, and then I got long a double lever, just a small amount,
Yeah.
and I had the right trade on. It just my timing. So
Yeah.
and now it's all
It
flown
did the
back up
same
again.
thing, made a marginal new low. This looks okay,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Still looks okay. I wouldn't short it. Do you
Yeah,
have a
I'm
schedule?
definitely listening. Huh?
Do you have a schedule, Kim, where or do people just have to put their X account up and they'll see you on the side? Or do you have a schedule where people could join you and hang out with you on spaces?
Yeah, so Wolf Financial, WOLF, Wolf, Howling Wolf Financial on um uh, Twitter, I call it. I
Yeah, you
can't,
too.
I don't know. Never can
I
switch
know.
it. Um I just always, when I say X, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
He does spaces every week, many of them throughout the day, and I join his. And so it's when he has them. And the reason why I'm saying this is he puts up once a week when his spaces will be and what
Okay.
times. And then you'll see like my picture is on.
Yeah.
Usually I'm on between 6 to 10 of them with Wolf a week.
Okay.
And I
think you ought
really
to,
enjoy I really enjoy that group. There's a lot of it's a mix, a lot of longer term viewed investors, a lot of shorter term viewed traders. We have some ex floor future traders that come on. And so it's fun. There's a whole group to learn from, the younger people coming up and the older people who have been there. And so I really enjoy it for that reason.
all right. I think you ought to start your own next year.
That'd be
Just
good once I'm through this
planting
like season of my life.
Yeah, planting a seed and instead of being part of someone else's, have your own thing, and I believe you'll attract people that want to hear you just like I do when we talk every 90 days or so, Kim.
Well, thank you. And I always appreciate being on. I always appreciate your wisdom
Thank you. Yeah,
and
a
learning from your
broken clock.
charts. And
Yeah. Well,
no, I love
it's
it.
all right. Well, I appreciate that. And, it's always, you're very transparent. What I like about you is that you don't revise things, when we're all wrong, and you talk about the instances when you're wrong, and anyone who doesn't, run away from them.
I
Because
agree.
that's not reality. So I want to wish, I'll probably be talking to you, you know, in December or January. So have a great fourth quarter, Kim. And
Thank you so much. And I can't
yeah,
wait to see you. And a lot of this will be behind us, hopefully, then, and then
yeah,
we'll know the outcome.
yeah. Let's see. No, no,
And watch out for any of those black swans that might come out of the sky at night.
yeah, there's plenty of potential ones, and probably none that were.
Plenty flying
Yeah,
around out there.
yeah. Anyway, appreciate talking to you today, Kim. Follow
You
Kim
too.
on X at Mama Vester, and keep an eye out for her starting her own spaces. I think that's going to happen in the next few months. And
Well, thank you, Dale.
all right, and everyone have a great weekend.
Talk to you
Remember, don't.
later.
Thank you, Kim, and everyone have a great weekend. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and uh, sign up. Sign up here for at least a trial. Okay, Galaxy, it's best for the world. Okay. Anyway, we have a lot of very smart people here in this community. I want to thank you guys for, contributing your comments and not just sitting there and being part of FACE. So have a great weekend, and we'll do it all again next week. Adios, my trading warrior brothers and sisters. See ya.